Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. I ripped his backseat door open and blocked the frame. My hand shook, but I held it there. She ducked and tugged her blouse down. He froze with his keys half raised. The clinic entrance buzzed behind me like a dare. I'm Mara, 22. My mouth moved before my fear did. Out now. My knuckles whitened on the door. A nurse wheeled an empty chair past us and didn't slow. The woman slid sideways and reached for her purse. He tried a smile that never reached his eyes. This is private. I laughed once, short and ugly. Private died in my throat like a bad taste. I leaned in and snatched his phone from the cup holder. He reached too late and bumped my wrist. The screen lit up with a heart beside her name. Notifications stacked like a dare. He swallowed and looked at the clinic doors. Delete that. His breath hitched and he straightened his collar. I tapped the camera and held it up. The lens caught their faces and his hand on her knee. He flinched like the flash burned, though there was none. Footsteps scraped behind me and the chair squeaked again. I pictured Mom's scarf tied under her chin. Move, the woman said, chin high. I stepped aside and lifted the phone higher. She brushed past with a smirk that asked if I'd blink. He tried for my wrist and missed by inches. You're making a scene. I lifted the phone farther from his reach. You made it. My voice came out steady like it belonged to someone older. He glanced at the glass doors and then at me. We talk, we fix this. The words slid out fast and slick. My thumb hit record and the red dot blinked. I did not nod. The woman paused by the hood and checked her lipstick in her reflection. Call me later. She tapped his window with one nail and walked off. He watched her leave with his jaw tight. That look told me this would not stop. I turned and started toward the entrance. He followed close enough that his coat brushed my sleeve. Your mother doesn't need this stress. I stopped short and he bumped into me. Stress tilted into rage like a table about to fall. Then stop giving her reasons. I pointed at his phone that was now my phone. His lips flattened into a thin line. The elevator chimed once and opened like a mouth. He glanced in and stayed rooted. I pressed the side button and scanned his face with the camera. He twitched and looked away too slow. The lock opened because of course it did. Messages bloomed like weeds across concrete. His breath stuttered and mine steadied. I scrolled past hotels and ride receipts. I saw time stamps that matched infusion days. I saw a selfie from a bedsheet with his grin. Each line tightened something in my ribs. He stepped around me and tried to block the screen. Enough! He planted himself between me and the elevator. I looked over his shoulder and raised my voice. You can move or I will read out loud. A receptionist turned her head like she heard fireworks. He exhaled through his nose and shifted one step. I slid past and hit the call button again. He hovered at my side like a shadow that begged. I could feel the next ask forming already. The doors slid open with a clean hiss. Inside the elevator, I stared at my reflection. My eyes looked older than this morning. A tremor in my left hand finally showed. I curled that hand into a fist and watched it stop. He did not step in because fear finally beat pride. The doors closed and cut him off mid-plea. My stomach dropped like a miscounted step. I let the phone rest against my chest. I pictured Mom waiting with her blanket and a dry joke. I knew I would have to choose my moment. I shoulder the infusion door and step in fast. She lifts her eyebrows like a question mark. I hand over the water and keep my voice low. I need 10 minutes without him. Her fingers tighten around the cup like a warning. She studies my face and nods once. Close it. I slide the handle and hear the click. My heart thumps in my throat like a knock. I know this choice will cost us later. I caught him downstairs with someone. The words leave before doubt can land. She blinks once and sits taller. Now or later, she asks. I reach for her blanket and tuck it firm because my hands need work. Now, but I have more. I show the screen only enough to count as proof. Her jaw sets and then relaxes because she picks her battles. You hold that while I finish this bag. She points at the pump like a general before March. Her humor steadies me for a beat. I breathe through a spike of ache. She watches my face instead of the line. You're thinking strategy already. I nod because rage alone won't win. We both know he will escalate. My phone buzzes and trembles across my palm. Unknown number with a demand to talk like adults. I silence it and slide it under the chair. She raises her chin toward the door. He'll try to corner you again. I won't be alone when that happens. I squeeze her shoulder once and step back. Years of swallowing things collapse inside my chest. Not this time. I will choose where to stand. Today. A volunteer peeks in and makes a circle with her hand. Time to move floors for the scan. I push the pole and she matches my pace with stubborn dignity. We ride the elevator without speaking. Our reflections look like teammates before overtime. The doors open to a crowded hall. He is not here, yet the air carries his shape. I feel ready anyway. She reads my stance and smiles with the side of her mouth. You look like me when I was 20. Good, I whisper and roll the pole to imaging. A tech waves us forward and starts her scripted questions. I answer crisp and leave no gaps. She signs forms and lifts her chin like a blade. We keep momentum and deny space for drift. While she disappears behind the lead wall, I crouch by the outlet. I draft a simple line to him and keep it sharp. Meet only in public. Bring nothing but your voice. No money talk near her treatment. I add one more condition and feel my spine click. He acknowledges with a thumbs up and a location. The cafeteria at 13 sharp. I check the clock and do the math. I have 8 minutes to ground myself. She comes back pale but fierce. I offer ginger candy and she waves it off. Save your sugar for someone who earns it. The old burn lands clean. We laugh because the absurd needs oxygen. I'm going to see him on neutral ground. Her eyes hold mine and search for wobble. Finish quick and call me from the table. I promise, and she hooks our pinkies like we used to. That tiny lock feels like armor. Back in the elevator, I text a friend from class. 2 lines. Meet me by the registers in 5. Stand to my left and film if voices rise. She replies with a thumbs up and a heart, then a skull. That blend is exactly right today. The cafeteria hums with the churn of trays. I pick a table facing exits and sit straight. I leave the chair opposite pulled out like bait. My friend ghosts in and takes her spot near a ficus. Her eyes cut to me once and set. He arrives wearing apology like a suit. I do not offer a greeting. He reaches for the chair and waits. I let the silence work. People nearby talk about weather and insurance and everything but us. You ambushed me earlier. His mouth twitches as he glances around. I defended her and myself. I fold my hands and keep them still. We have 3 rules for this talk, I say, and he nods because structure feels safe to him. 1. You keep your voice even. He inhales slow and counts on his fingers. 2. You do not bring up money. His eyes flash and then dim. 3. You do not mention her in the third person again. He forces a smile that shows his molars. Fine, let's be reasonable. My friend shifts her weight and adjusts her sleeve. The camera lens peeks between leaves like a tiny eye. I rest my elbows on the table and lean in. I want to know how many lines you crossed. He reaches for a napkin and folds it. It started once, then it repeated. He glances at my hands for tremor. They stay steady because I trained them in the elevator. Dates, he lists 3 weekends and 1 weekday. 2 of them match treatment hours. I stare long enough to make him swallow. A worker drops a tray behind us and he jumps. The room nudges tighter around our little storm. Did she know about Mom at all? He scratches his temple and looks to the side. She knew I was busy with a sick ex. The word slams hard and I let the silence punish. He tries to backpedal and I lift a palm. This is not a cross-exam for fun. I keep each word clean. You will leave her alone starting now. He taps the table twice and stares at the exit. I need help, he murmurs, and here it comes like a freight car. I will not sponsor your new mess. My voice stays low and controlled. The only priority is her care. He presses his lips together and nods once, then he leans in with a new pitch and fresh greed. She is expecting and I am out of options. My chest tightens but I keep my stare. He slides a folded paper toward me like a trick. Loan terms, cosigner, immediate release if I default. He watches my eyes like a gambler. I do not touch the paper. You bring this into a hospital and ask me here. He shrugs and spreads his hands. I am trying to be transparent. I push the paper back with one finger. My friend records every inch of it. You will receive a letter by tomorrow. He frowns like the word tastes formal. A boundary and a notice. He leans away and squints. You got a lawyer, barely louder than a breath. I hold his gaze until movement starts behind him. Security does a slow loop across the room. He clocks them and chooses a softer pose. He can sense the window closing. I let him feel it. Do you want to tell Mom anything yourself? He licks his lips and checks the ficus because he is not stupid. I want to tell her I am trying. My jaw flexes and then settles. I nod once toward his hands. Then try by staying out of the infusion floor. He opens his mouth and closes it. I push back my chair and stand. He stays seated and looks small for a second. That image anchors me like a knot before a climb. I tap my friend's shoulder as I pass. Send me the file. She pockets her phone and falls in step. You were ice. I nod and feel the aftershock hit my knees. We head for the elevator because there's still a call to make. I dial Mom before the doors open. I met him and set terms. She exhales and the line crackles. Good, now eat something and come back. Her tone leaves no room for wobble. I breathe and promise and watch the numbers drop. When the doors slide wide, he steps out of a side corridor. He tracks us with careful eyes and keeps distance. He lifts both hands like he is harmless. I ignore the show. My friend angles her camera without looking up. I will wire money for her labs today, he blurts. I stop and study his face for the catch. You wire directly to the clinic or not at all? He nods and stares at the floor tiles. I will text a receipt by evening. We move past him and his cologne stings my throat. It changes nothing except my decision to take a longer path. I pull my hoodie tighter and pick up speed. My friend leans closer and whispers a time. I'll send it by 2. Back upstairs, I pause outside the unit. I press my forehead to the cool wall and count to 5. My fingers stop shaking on 4. I know I will not hide any of this from her. I also know he is not done yet. I hit the billing window and ask for confirmation. The clerk checks the account and shakes her head. Nothing logged, no pending transaction. My phone buzzes with his screenshot of a transfer. The timestamp looks edited and that sets my teeth on edge. I call him from the corridor with my back to the wall. Where is the actual receipt? Footsteps pass and he stalls on the line. Banks are slow. I hang up before the excuse grows legs. A tech waves me in and points at the chair. I steady Mom's elbow and keep my voice firm. I'll fix the money piece after this bag. She watches my mouth and nods once. I plant myself where he cannot drift near. The phone rattles again and shows a new number. A short text lands like a stone on my toes. I'm the one expecting. We need security for the baby. I stare at the words until my vision sharpens. She wants guarantees and I taste leverage. Meet me tomorrow in public. I type slow and direct. No demands near medical care. 3 dots blink and vanish. A final line appears with teeth. If you refuse, I show up today. I step into the stairwell and call the attorney. We need the boundary letter now. My voice stays measured though my pulse pounds. Include a no-contact clause and a hospital ban. I listen and nod into empty air. We align on service and timing. The stair door opens and a man with a messenger bag steps in. He checks a name on a clipboard and glances up. Are you related to him? My mouth tightens and I point downward. Cafeteria at 1. He circles there. The man folds a packet and thanks me without ceremony. Back on the unit, I find Mom adjusting her blanket. I start to speak and she holds up a finger. Breathe first. I inhale and let the burn fade. We push the letter today. Her smile tilts, then hardens. She knows the storm is moving. A nurse taps my shoulder and nods toward the door. He stands just inside the threshold with that pleading mask. I lift my palm and shake my head once. Security rounds the corner with calm strides. He watches them and calculates exit angles. He tries to talk over the cart noise and fails. I need 5 minutes. He stretches his arms like peace. I point at the floor sign that bans visitors past the line. He steps back but keeps his gaze on me. Security stops between us and waits. He pulls a folded sheet from his pocket and drops it in a bin. Read this and be decent. He backs away fast as the guard moves. I fish the sheet out with 2 fingers and slide it into a folder. The title wants a cosigner and a promise with dates. The guard tilts an eyebrow at me for a cue. Escort him off the level. My voice lands flat and final. The guard nods and walks him toward the elevators. He looks back once with wounded theater. I do not give him a reaction. I take the folder to billing and ask for a copy. The clerk scans the page and frowns at a missing line. This is not a bank document. She stamps the copy with a time mark. That mark feels like armor in my pocket. My phone pings again and shows a grayscale image. A sonogram sits above a typed schedule of support. The message adds a threat with a smiley face. Help or I go to your mother's floor. Heat climbs my neck and stops behind my ears. I text 3 words and nothing else. Harassment equals report. I attach the cafeteria video and the unit footage. I send both to the attorney with timestamps and floor numbers. A typing bubble appears from her end. On it, delivering service this afternoon. I step back into the room and take Mom's hand. He tried the unit and failed. She squeezes twice and looks past me toward the hall. He will try it. Different door. I nod because she is rarely wrong. I start listing the doors he might choose next. The infusion pump chimes and a nurse unhooks the line. Food and rest now. I guide the chair and keep my eyes scanning. The process server waits by the elevators with 2 envelopes. He lifts one as the doors open. My stomach tightens because I know who will step out. The doors part and he steps out into the waiting trap. The man with the clipboard lifts an envelope like a baton. For you. He reaches for it with a puzzled smile that dies fast. I hold the wheelchair steady and watch his throat jump. He scans the first page and his eyebrows climb. You're serious. The second envelope goes to me with a nod. I slide it into my bag without looking. Mom rests her hand on the armrest and keeps her eyes on him. He folds the notice and shoves it deep. You didn't have to escalate. His jaw works and then stills. We can solve this quietly. The guard leans near the call button as encouragement. Quiet happens when you respect boundaries. My voice lands clean and level. He looks at the floor for courage and fails. There's a complication. He gestures toward the hallway like a curtain will rise. She appears from behind a pillar with a careful stride. Her gaze flicks over the chair and then to me. Her palm settles on her belly in a practiced pose. We need stability for the child, she says without blinking. I push the chair a foot forward and hold. This is not the place. The guard clears his throat and steps closer. She angles her shoulders like she owns the space. He watches me for a flinch and gets none. He slides a new sheet across a luggage rack. Agreement for monthly assistance, he murmurs, only until we find our feet. I do not touch it. My fingers remain on the chair handles like anchors. Your transfer never hit our account. I give him that wince straight, billing checked twice. He fumbles for his phone and flashes another screenshot. The numbers blur because lies look the same at every angle. Maybe their system lags. He wipes his forehead with his sleeve. I can't fix bureaucracy. The guard shakes his head and points to the exit. The hallway noise swells like a tide about to break. She takes a step closer and lowers her voice. I know you hate me. She glances at the chair and swallows. Hate me later. Her knuckles press white against the rail. I don't hate you. My pulse drops half a beat, but I won't bankroll this. Her posture stiffens like she expected the word. He seizes the opening and leans in with urgency. Fine, not money today. He taps the paper with one finger. Cosign a lease so we can move. I laugh once and it sounds like metal on concrete. The guard's radio crackles a warning we all understand. He shifts tactics with a shaky breath, then lists me as contact for emergencies. He leans toward the chair like it might agree. I should be reachable for updates. Mom stares through him so cold it burns. Updates come from me. I pivot the chair toward the elevator bank. You will use the portal for payments. He tries to place his hand on the rail and stops. The guard angles between us with a quiet nod. He plays his last chip and lowers his tone. I told my manager I was caring for family. His shoulders sag like sandbags. I lost shifts over this mess. He looks from me to the chair and back, waiting for sympathy. Then clear your mess without hours. I point at the notice in his pocket. Follow every line. He looks like he might protest, then thinks better. The woman rubs her stomach and studies my face for softness. You would deny a baby food. Her words land like pebbles against a wall. We won't make it without help. I tilt my head and watch for sincerity. It doesn't arrive. I will fund care for one person only. I tap the chair gently and hold his stare. Everything else is on you. He flinches and glances at the guard's hand near the radio. He lifts both palms like surrender. The man with the clipboard returns with a small receipt. Service completed. He notes the time loudly enough for everyone. I sign his form with a steady stroke. The hallway buzz creeps back to normal. He edges backward and keeps his eyes on me. You're colder than I remember. He tries a grin that fails. The woman clutches his sleeve and tugs him toward the stairs. I wheel the chair toward the doors and don't look back. My phone vibrates twice with new messages. I ignore them and press the button with my knuckle. I can feel another play coming and I'm ready for it. I slide the kitchen chair back and set the forms down. Mom touches my wrist and waits for my plan. We lock our money to treatment only. She nods once, then points at the signature line. I uncap the pen and feel my pulse steady. I call the attorney on speaker and keep it crisp. Add a clinic-only account and bar third parties. Keys clack through the line like a metronome. Draft ready in 1 hour. We hang up and brace for the next hit. My phone lights with a blocked call. I answer and keep my voice flat. Your transfer never arrived. He breathes hard through the receiver. Bank delay. I let silence grow until he blinks first. Prove it with a direct receipt. I lean on the counter and wait. I have a screenshot. Paper rustles on his end like theater. Send actual confirmation from billing. He curses under his breath and disconnects. A new message pops in from an unfamiliar number. It's her, short and cold. We need housing this week. A link follows with a lease request and a blank CASIN line. I take a screenshot for the file and feel my jaw lock. I forward everything to the attorney with one note, adding attempted leverage. The reply comes fast. Report and document. Stay on secure channels. I drop the phone and exhale, then it buzzes again. The clinic calls about an attempted access change. Someone tried to add him as contact. The clerk asks if permission stands. Remove him and add me only. She confirms and flags the chart. A weight lifts, then shifts to my shoulders. Mom watches my face and reaches for her scarf. What now? I open the laptop and pull up the portal. We prepay the next round so no one stalls us. She taps the screen where the total sits bright. Do it before lunch. I move the funds while my hands try to shake. The confirmation number lands and I text a screenshot to billing. Applied to Friday. The clerk answers with a thumbs up and a smile I can hear. Relief tastes sharp and electric. The doorbell rings and I freeze mid-breath. Through the peephole, a bouquet blocks the view. A card hangs from a ribbon with 2 initials. I bring it inside and hold it over the bin. Don't, Mom whispers, eyes narrow. We might need that handwriting. I photograph the envelope front and back. The line on the card reads like a plea in costume. Forgiveness is healthy. My stomach flips. I slide the card into a plastic sleeve. Evidence first, trash later. A voicemail arrives from a strange extension. His manager uses clipped sentences and a careful tone. We require documentation for family leave claims. He listed Mom on a form to explain missed shifts. I stare at the wall and feel heat rise. I call back with my own clipped voice. He is not caregiver or family. The manager clears his throat. We suspected that. He asks for a note from the clinic. I request fax details and hang up, hands buzzing. Mom nods toward the phone like a baton. Hit billing again. I dial and keep it focused. Please send a one-liner confirming authorized contacts. The clerk agrees and asks for the new number. I give it twice, then once more to be sure. A text from him lands like a spark on dry grass. You turned work against me. 3 dots pulse, then stop. Another line, meet and fix this. I type back 3 words, communicate through counsel. He switches tactics with whiplash speed. The baby needs prenatal vitamins, be human. My tongue presses to my molars. I send one reply, ask your doctor, not us. My friend pings me with the cafeteria video link. She tightened audio and marked faces. I save it to 3 places with different names. Redundancy feels like armor, heavy and necessary. The attorney's car pulls up right on the minute. We sign the limited fund paperwork at the table. Each line tightens the box around him. Next step is a warning through his employer. I nod and glance at Mom for approval. Mom leans back and studies my expression. You're not sleeping. She's right and I do not pretend. After we finish this push, she reaches across the table and hooks our pinkies. The small grip steadies my breath. The phone trills again and I brace for noise. It's the clinic clerk with a calmer tone. Your prepayment cleared. Also, someone tried to schedule a meeting under your name. My scalp prickles. Block that number and note impersonation. I open my notes and draft a statement. Clear, compact, surgical. He admitted the affair on camera. He tried to solicit a signature with pressure. He attempted to access records and failed. I attached timestamps to each point. An email lands from billing seconds later. We received a wire from an anonymous sender. The memo line reads only one word: repentance. I call to ask if funds can be traced. The answer is yes, then a pause, then a name match. I glance at Mom and swallow heat. He wired through a friend. She lifts an eyebrow and waits for the ask. Do we accept and apply to treatment? We choose together without blinking. Yes, and record the source. I call him while the decision still burns. Your transfer hit. It will pay exactly one invoice. He exhales like he expected gratitude. I give none. Any future attempt goes through the portal or not at all. He lunges for sympathy with a new angle. She fainted this morning. I'm panicking. I keep my voice steady. Call her provider or drive to urgent care. He mutters something about gas money and hangs up, frustrated and small. The attorney emails the final draft for the cease notice. I print 2 copies and lay them side by side. We sign with firm strokes and date each page. Service tomorrow before sunrise. The plan clicks into place like teeth. I build a short list on a sticky pad. Clinic paid, employer notified, access flagged, evidence stored. Each line eases a knot then tightens the mission. The doorbell rings again and I feel the shift before I move. It's the woman, alone and tight-jawed. She keeps her hands visible and speaks fast. I want you to know he's lying to both of us. My spine goes cold, then hot. She glances at the street like someone is watching. He has another apartment across town. I hold the threshold and keep distance. Why are you telling me now? Her mouth twists and then settles. Because he promised rent with your name on it. She pulls a crumpled paper from her pocket and offers it without stepping inside. I read the address and a lease draft with my initials forged. The signature looks close, but the slant betrays him. My ears buzz with fresh anger and something like relief. A new door just opened for the report. Send that to my attorney right now. I take a photo and text the number. She nods once and backs away. I'm not your enemy. Her voice wavers, then hardens. I'm done letting him speak for me. I close the door and lock it with a click. Mom calls from the table without turning her head. What changed? I set the forged lease next to our forms. He multiplied his lies. She smiles without warmth. Good, easier to untangle in court. My phone dings with a final update. The manager confirms his leave request was denied. They flagged the record for misrepresentation. One more wedge in place. One more line drawn hard. I stand by the sink and let the quiet throb. The day stacked like bricks and never toppled. Tomorrow will be loud again. I'm ready to keep building until there's no door left for him to kick. I shove the forged lease across the bank table. The manager lines it up with my ID. He checks the slant on the signature and nods once. The door opens behind me like a warning bell. He walks in with bluster fading fast. Reverse any application tied to my name. I keep both palms flat. The manager clicks through screens without commentary. Found the attempt, he mutters, eyes narrowed. He glances at the doorway and waits for a scene. You dragged me here to humiliate me. His laugh scraps the air. I slide a second page forward. It's the cease notice with today's timestamp. He reads the header and loses color around the mouth. Decision is simple. I tap the paper once. You stop using me as collateral. He digs a thumb into his cheek and stares at the carpet. The manager prints a cancellation slip and pushes it across. I do not touch it yet. My phone buzzes with a link that makes my stomach drop. A fundraiser has Mom's photo and a made-up story. He tugged pity from strangers with a caption about abandonment. The total ticks upward while I breathe. I feel my hands go numb then steady. Take this down now. I rotate the screen toward him. He squints, then shrugs like it's harmless. People want to help. The manager's eyebrows launch toward the ceiling. I lift the phone higher and start recording again. You used her image without consent. My voice stays low and sharp. That ends today. I forward the link to our attorney with 2 lines, unauthorized likeness. Fraud. A reply lands in seconds, already drafting the takedown. He watches my thumbs and realizes the trap. He switches to pity like a trained reflex. We can split the donations for care. I close my eyes for one beat and reopen. Every cent goes back to donors. He shifts in his chair and looks for an exit. There isn't one. The manager clears his throat and leans forward. We are done with the lease. He stamps the slip and slides it to me. I sign to acknowledge cancellation without shaking. The sound of the stamp rings like a gavel. He tries a last crooked pivot. Cooperate and I'll close the page. I stand and gather the documents. Close it anyway. He blinks at the edge in my voice. The manager lifts his phone toward security with a tiny motion. Outside the conference room, he follows at a careful distance. I wired more to cover next week. He jogs 2 steps to match my stride. I stop in the hallway and turn fully. You will not buy access. A text pings with the platform's response. The fundraiser is suspended pending proof. Screenshots requested. I send files before fear can argue. A new email lands from legal temporary restraining order granted for the hospital. He reads my face and realizes the door just locked. He reaches for gentleness like a costume. You don't have to hate me. My jaw works once, then settles. I just don't owe you anything. He opens his mouth and finds nothing useful. The silence cuts deeper than any insult. The elevator arrives and he steps in with me. He stares at the panel and breathes through his nose. You'll are. Egret icing me out. I watch the numbers fall and keep still. I regret letting you in this long. Street level hits like a slap. He angles toward the exit and throws one more plea, just a small monthly amount. I tilt my head and let the words hang. No, it lands heavy and final. My phone rings with the clinic's number. Bell ceremony tomorrow at 9, the clerk says, voice warm and bright. I swallow hard and look past him toward daylight. Mom earned this milestone with grit I will never forget. He hears the word tomorrow and stiffens like a cornered animal. Let me be there. His hands flex, then drop. I picture the bell, the faces, the relief. You will not come near that floor. He turns toward the sliding doors and spits a quiet curse. I let it slide past like wind. He stalks to the curb, then wheels back. I'll talk to the press if you freeze me out. My chest cools instead of burning. Do it and I share the recordings. His shoulders sag and he looks suddenly small. Empty threats sound loud and then fade fast. The attorney texts one line that hums in my bones. Court affirmed service. Boundaries hold. She asks for a final statement for the record. I type with both thumbs and no hesitation. He sought money, signatures, and access, and failed. I call Mom on speaker as I walk. It's handled for now. She listens and breathes slow. Then bring dessert tonight. I laugh because permission is a gift. I promise 2 slices and hang up before the ache returns. At the grocery checkout, my phone lights again. A short video arrives from an unknown account. It's the woman, eyes swollen but fierce. I'm filing a report for the fake lease, she says, voice raw. I sent your lawyer everything. I nod at the screen like she can feel it. A final buzz lands while I pay. The platform confirms the fundraiser is removed. Refunds will process within days. I forward the email to billing and our attorney. Then I put my phone face down on the counter and breathe. Evening brings the quiet I kept chasing. Mom eats 1 slice and pushes the plate toward me. You finish it. I do, because Joy deserves a clean plate. We plan the morning without giving him any room to slip in. Before bed, I draft one last message to him, clean, unmistakable. All contact goes through counsel. Any violation triggers police. I hit send and block his number again. The block sits there like a locked gate. I lie awake and replay the day in chapters. Bank, fundraiser, order, calls, the pieces knit together without gaps. I can feel the person I was 2 weeks ago dissolving. I can feel the person I am now taking the wheel. Morning will bring that bell and the sound I need, not forgiveness, not revenge, just release. When it rings, I will hold her hand and I will not look back.